John, eager to please his wife Emma, went so far as to stew a live dragon for soup. The golden dragon even declared, "My flesh is most nourishing." After delivering his final words, the dragon leapt willingly into the clay pot. John then added various rare herbs and treasures, igniting the three-flame true fire to fully infuse the dragon's flesh. Soon, the aroma wafted through the living room, drawing his wife and daughter. The moment his wife lifted the lid, she froze in horror at the sight before her. To prevent her discovery, John waved his hand, transforming the dragon meat into eel. Only then did she begin to eat heartily, unaware that the pot contained pure spiritual energy, sufficient to propel both mother and daughter beyond the nascent soul stage, making them peerless masters. The next morning, upon waking, his wife discovered her daughter had vanished. As he rushed to search for her, he unexpectedly vanished into the living room the moment he opened the door. To his shock, he discovered his daughter, floating in the air, her body radiating golden light. Only then did his wife realize her seemingly useless husband was no ordinary man. It turned out John's true identity was the divine emperor of the celestial realm. He had accidentally arrived in the divine world by chance long ago. To return to Earth sooner, he trained relentlessly, battling for 6,000 years before finally unifying the immortal realm. Yet he had no desire to rule as sovereign, his heart consumed only by thoughts of his wife and daughter on Earth. So that day, he tore open a spatial rift and returned to Earth. To locate his family, he pricked his finger, using his blood to calculate their whereabouts. What he witnessed was horrifying. The head of the Jack family, seeking to help his younger brother break through his cultivation barrier, was preparing to forcibly extract his daughter's blood. Seeing this, the Jack patriarch kicked Emma to the ground with a single blow. For him, his daughter's life paled in comparison to his younger brother's cultivation. Little did he know, John witnessed it all. Seeing his wife and daughter being bullied by villains, he instantly activated flight mode. In the blink of an eye, he arrived at the Jack residence. Seeing his daughter covered in wounds, he tenderly helped her up. At that moment, the Jack family patriarch still recklessly demanded John hand over the person. But no sooner had the words left his mouth than the sky darkened, and the ground began to shake. Seeing this, he instantly realized the newcomer must be a master, at least at the Grandmaster level. Sure enough, John merely instructed his daughter to cover her eyes. Then, with a slight raise of his hand, the Jack family patriarch was instantly reduced to ashes. The victim's younger brother arrived just then. Seeing his sister slain, he immediately ordered his men to seize the killer, but John merely raised his hand again, and in an instant, the men too turned to ash. Witnessing this, the surrounding guests scattered in panic. John swiftly approached his wife. After a preliminary diagnosis, he learned she had fainted from a sudden surge of anger. He then carried his wife and daughter out, resolving never to let them suffer harm again. But when Emma opened her eyes, she found herself in a hospital. Seeing her unharmed daughter beside her, she pulled the child into her arms. Following the child's pointing finger, she looked and was stunned to see the husband who had abandoned their daughter 6 years prior. It turned out that 6 years ago, Emma had been hospitalized for anemia shortly after becoming pregnant. After being called away by the doctor, John never returned. Upon discharge, Emma searched every place he might be, but he vanished without a trace. Little did she know that when John was summoned by the doctor, he unexpectedly learned his wife suffered not only from anemia, but also a hereditary disease. To ensure the future safety of mother and child, he must find the celestial herb atop the sheer peak. Yet when John finally found the herbs after immense hardship, and finally located the herb, a temporal rift suddenly tore open in the sky, sucking him inside. Thus began his extraordinary adventure in the divine realm. Yet to Emma, his explanation sounded like nothing more than an excuse to shirk responsibility. With no other choice, Emma brought John home. Learning he had casually wiped out the Jack family, she found it laughable. After all, John was just an ordinary man with no real power. Wiping out the martial arts clan of the Jack family was pure fantasy. Yet, for his daughter's sake, to give her a complete family, he kept the man around. They struck a 5-year agreement, a marriage of convenience. During this period, should either party find someone they loved, the agreement would automatically dissolve. Though his heart resisted, John had no choice but to agree. After all, he had ascended from mortal to divine emperor in just 6 years, a claim anyone would dismiss as bragging. Yet to restore his wife and daughter's depleted vitality, that very night he demonstrated his culinary prowess. Summoning a golden dragon, he guided it into a clay pot. Then he tossed in several rare medicinal herbs, before igniting the three-flame true fire. To maximize their potency, Emma lifted the lid with skepticism. The next instant, a golden dragon materialized before her eyes. John sensed trouble and swiftly waved his hand, transforming the dragon meat into eel. Emma, convinced she was seeing things, began devouring the dish with her daughter. Unbeknownst to them, the pot contained pure spiritual energy, sufficient to propel both mother and child beyond the nascent soul stage into peerless masters. After their meal, John intended to sleep with his wife and daughter that night, but she coldly ordered him to sleep on the couch. Meanwhile, just as Emma lulled her child to sleep, her assistant called with news. Jack's family had indeed been wiped out yesterday. She recalled John's words from earlier that day. To verify her suspicions, he ordered his assistant to investigate thoroughly. Unaware, as she drifted into sleep, the dragon meat and herbs consumed that night were quietly being refined. The next morning, the woman awoke to discover her daughter had vanished. She rushed out to search for her, only to teleport back to the living room. She stood there, stunned. Hadn't she been in the bedroom? Lifting her gaze, she watched in disbelief as her daughter floated, suspended in midair.